Hi everyone, in this small video I'm going to show you my version of the Grunge assignment. Now the Grunge assignment was explained to you using Photoshop CS, which is the professional version. Here's the Photoshop Element version. So first of all, I was able to take this picture that I'm going to be working with from the site openphoto.net. You're going to be using your own picker, and let's start off, let's see what happens in Photoshop. So we take this picture, and the first thing I'm going to do with it is I'm going to desaturate it a bit. So if you click on Enhance and you click on Adjust Color, there is a adjust color where you can go to adjust hue saturation. And what I'm going to do right now is bring down the saturation of it. And what happens when you use the saturation tool is that you actually end up losing some of the color, full spectrum of the color, the dynamic range within the picture. So it's good. I like that desaturated kind of vintage look. It'll work well with our Grunge assignment. So I'm going to click on OK. From here, I'm also going to want to give this picture a bit more punch and kind of sharpen it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under Enhance, and actually, you know what, before I even do the sharpening, let's just do levels on that. So I'm going to duplicate this layer, Control L, and see what I can do to give it a bit more punch. So there's a bit of empty space here. I'm going to see what happens if I do that. This brightens it up. I'm not sure I want it brighter, but I will play with the midtones just to make it maybe a bit more edgy, dark right there. So there we are. I'm happy with that. Let's click on OK. The next step is sharpening. Now I want to sharpen this quite a bit to really give it some punch. And to do so, we're going to use the high pass sharpening technique. So by clicking on Filter, if you go to Other, you'll find something called high pass here. And once you click on that, it doesn't make much sense. It pretty much like converts it to like an embossed black and white. With a bit of color, the more you go up, the more color you're going to get into it. Now that's way too high. That would sharpen the picture way too much, because we will have to do a next step to sharpen it. But I want to bring it to a point where everything I want sharpened will actually appear. If I bring it too low, nothing shows up. So I want to bring it to a point where just the outline of things that I want sharp show up. So I'm happy with this. I'm at 4.3 right now. I'm going to click on OK. Now the last step to sharpen this is to play with your mixing right here, and I'm going to click on, usually soft light works quite well. You can even try hard light, but I'm going to try soft light, and there we are. Let's just see how sharp that is compared to the original. I'm going to zoom into the face right here, and let's click on the eye, and then you can really see it's much sharper than what it used to be. I'm going to zoom back out. By the way, to zoom back out is Control 0 if you don't know your shortcuts. There, Control 0, I've zoomed back out. So this picture is sharp, it's desaturated. I think I'm ready to start bringing in some textures. So I'm going to flatten these layers. I'm going to press Control Shift E. I'm going to duplicate the layer in the background again, because I don't want to work on my original layer. And I'm going to bring in my first texture. Now I have two textures here. I have this kind of tree trunk with a crack in it, but I also have this right here. What you're going to do right now is you're going to be desaturating these. So let's desaturate them, and to do so you're going to go to Enhance, you're going to go to Adjust Color, and there's one called Remove Color. Now you can do it that way, or I like to do it this way by going to Convert to Black and White, and then you can choose your recipe here, and I think for this I'm going to want the newspaper. So I'm going to click on OK, and the next step I'm going to do the same thing with my other texture. So I'm going to go to Convert to Black and White, and this time I'm going to choose probably Portrait. I think that looks good for this. Great. So two textures that I'm going to be working with. Next step will be to bring in that texture into the picture. So let's just drag it in using the Move tool, and I can close this because it's dragged in now. So now I want to place this. So I'm going to drag the corners, make sure it overlaps perfectly, and I'm going to check it. So there we are. Now the next step is to have this blend. So let's find a blending mode that works with this. So it depends on what you prefer, but I'm thinking, no, I really like the soft light. Hard light doesn't work. Let's just go through these again and find something that really works. So let's see. Yeah, soft light works well. Linear burn works well. It's a touch dark, I think, but I like it. Multiply also works. You know what, let's go to soft light. So here we are. I think I like this. So what I'm going to do right now is, yeah, leave that like that, but I think I'm happy. So what I'm going to do is merge these two top layers. So I'm going to select them using the shift, and select both of them, and I'm going to go to merge layers. Now there is a problem now. I have a lot of cracks that are over the facial features of the model here, and I want to actually bring back some of the more natural colors here and just keep this crackling in the background. So what I'm going to do is going to go to my base layer, use my lasso tool. Now depending on the size of your picture, you're going to have between 75 pixels and 250. If your picture is straight from your camera, you're probably going to use 250. Because mine is a web-based picture, and the picture is already quite small at 12,082 pixels by 970 pixels, that's why I'm at a feathering 75. And what I'm going to do right now is select around the subject. And this doesn't have to be exact, but generally speaking, you just go around like that. And then we're going to right click and we're going to do a layer via copy. Now this copy is pretty much intact, okay? And what I'm going to do with that is drag it to the top layer. Now remember to reactivate your eyes here, and here's what it gives. So basically she's intact, but the background is still crackled. So this is before and after. Okay, just make sure that layer is on the top. So we've brought in one texture. I want to bring in the other texture now. So let's just drag that in. Problem with this texture is the actual crack is right in the middle of the picture, and that would go straight over the subject. So I want to actually fill some empty space in this picture with that texture. I want that crack to kind of align with this corner area here, as if she's looking into it. So I'm going to stretch this, and I want my crack about right here. So what I'm going to do is just stretch it out and make sure, actually let's cancel that, do a better job. So here we are, and I want that crack to align probably right there. So let's click on OK, and actually before I continue, I'm going to want to merge these three layers here. So let's merge them, and I'm just going to create a duplicate, Control J. Okay, there we are. We're going to go back to our top layer, and we're going to figure out which merging mode works best for us. So let's zoom in a bit. That's pretty cool, a bit dark. Let's find something that looks good. Yeah, I think this one's quite interesting. This one is, it's overlay. Soft light works well again. Okay, I think my favorite is probably overlay or soft light. Let's go with, I think, soft light. Okay, I've made my selection. That's great. So there we have it. I'm quite happy with this. I'm going to merge these two. So I'm going to merge, and now what I'm going to do is, again, you know, I have kind of this texture in the face, but you know what? The texture isn't as distracting as some of the crackling. So you know what? I want to actually keep some of that. Maybe just bring it down a touch. So I'm going to reselect my model. I'm going to copy that layer and drag that to the top. But you know what? I want to bring back a bit. So let's bring down the opacity just a touch to add some of it, but not the full effect. See, this would be the full effect. No effect. So kind of halfway, just to give it a hint. There we are. So I'm quite happy with that. And there we are. So far, we've added textures, we've desaturated, we've sharpened. So, and I'm happy with my results. I have two textures in here. I'm going to collapse these layers, Control-Shift-T, and duplicate it again, because this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing some burning. So by right-clicking on your hand tool here, look for the burn tool. Well, I already had it selected, but you might have the sponge tool, so you'll have to right-click on the sponge tool, select your burn tool, and just make sure the size is quite big. You can bring down the exposure. I'm going to bring it down to 30%, so it'll take a few swipes, actually 3 swipes, to apply the full effect. And make sure your brush edge is quite soft. Now what we're going to do is, just by painting, kind of brushing in, you're going to darken the areas you want to darken. Okay, so there we are. We're burning here, actually. Okay, so we're going to fill that in. There. Okay, and we're kind of creating a vignette here, and this vignette leads your eye into the subject. So that's you know, a quick overview of some of the major things that are done usually using a grunge technique. You know, the things you're going to have to do to get to the results that are usually found in the grunge technique. There's one thing we didn't talk about, and that's cross-processing. It's kind of tweaking the colors to end up with kind of a mix of processing fields that give kind of, sometimes bring out greens and yellows. We haven't done that, but if you're looking into doing that, you can watch the videos on the network, or you can find tutorials online if you want to tweak the colors even more to give it kind of an acidic look. So there you are. Have fun. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask in class. Thanks, and bye.